Київ, Дніпро, Червоноград. Hello, hello. So, as usual, we have our introductory slides to go through. Yeah, so while you are all joining, saying hello, let me do that. Hello, Тернопіль, Дніпро. Hello, 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 hello. Dnipro, hello. So, yeah, Linguist has spent 17 years on the market and is the official representative of some of the world-renowned publishing houses, yeah, such as Publications, Cambridge University Press and Assessment, National Geographic Learning, and many, many more. Also, you can get any type of material that you require with your students to do what you need to do to learn the language. And you can be a part of our partnership program, yeah, to get special terms, also have some events that are hosted just for your school, and just get to know us more. Also, 1 million students at this point in time, yeah, uses our textbooks and workbooks, which were adapted to NUR standards by the Linguist Publishing House and our in-house brand Formula. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to see you all. Hello, Kyiv. Hello. You can get personal offers when you become our loyal client, yeah, with assigned managers that you can always come to and ask for help. You can get tiered discounts and quick delivery all around Ukraine. Hello, Poltava. Hello. And of course, we host lots of webinars, more than 250 per year. Also, this number includes our all-Ukrainian conferences, such as LUKU, Linguist United Conference Ukraine, in spring, and our back-to-school conferences in August. And also, you definitely know that Linguist, it's not just English, it's also German, French, Spanish, Italian, and Polish languages. Hello, Pan Serhiy, I missed you so much. Hello. And of course, our in-house brand Formula offers textbooks and workbooks for NUSH classes when it comes to subjects such as ICT, math, and of course, science. But our main topic of today is, of course, Let's Read with Imagine Reading Anthology for young learners. And I will show you how you can use the resources such as Reading Anthology for primary school students to implement formative assessment in your classroom, but also use those strategies, those methods, not just with Imagine, but also with other resources that you have in your teaching portfolio. Okay, I think we can start, right? Those who want to join will join. And we definitely can start. Also, I promised that we will reveal the winners of the quick Vyshivanka day during the reading anthology event. Yeah, so at the end of the event, we will see all of the participants in our Google form, yeah, and we will use, as usual, our best friend, random.org, to determine 3 winners, yeah. Hello. Yes, the certificates are always given for every event that you attend from Linguist. And from our other events also. We always provide certificates. Don't worry about that. Okay. Everything that there is to know about me, you already do. Yeah? More than 10 years of experience, work still work with Noosh in primary and secondary school, still teach different age groups, and very much enjoy using digital resources and online activities in my practice. But yeah, as I usually say, in my humble opinion, I'm an expert in creating those engaging materials for students. Something that that is always interesting for every participant, and what was already mentioned, is when and how you can get a certificate. Yeah, so I will switch to Ukrainian to explain the process easier. Отже, для того, щоб отримати сертифікат, ви зареєструвалися на подію, були присутніми на цій події, так? Зазвичай з всеукраїнськими нашими заходами ми собі даємо день-два для того, щоб підготувати всі матеріали, тобто згенерувати сертифікати, все підготувати для відправки. 29 травня, тобто це у нас четвер, так, буде здійснена розсилка. Вона може бути здійснена упродовж дня, тому не очікуйте, будь ласка, що відразу зранку, 29-го, ви вже будете мати сертифікати. Це все буде відбуватися впродовж дня. До закінчення робочого дня розсилка точно буде надіслана. Коли ви отримуєте лист розсилки, ви маєте кнопку, яка веде вас на опитувальник. Ви переходите за опитувальником, так, ідете, заповнюєте опитувальник, наприкінці нього натискаєте кнопочку «Надіслати». Коли натиснули кнопку «Надіслати», ви залишаєтеся на тій сторінці, на якій ви були, тому що відразу після того, як ви натиснули «Надіслати», вас перекине, так, на іншу сторінку, де буде сказано, що дякую за заповнення форми, і отримати свій сертифікат можна за посиланням в папці. Відповідно, відкриватиметься посилання на всі абсолютно попередні заходи. Тобто ви, коли натиснули кнопочку «Надіслати», вам відкрилася сторінка, там будуть посилання на усі заходи, які відбулися цього року від видавництва «Лінгвіст». Тобто всі вебінари, починаючи з січня місяця. Тому, будь ласка, дуже уважно дивіться, яке посилання ви обираєте, так, за яким ви переходите. Тобто ви будете там бачити Let's read with Imagine Reading Anthology 2, і там також буде стояти дата сьогоднішня, тобто 27.05. Переходите за посиланням в папочку, можете відразу погортати, пошукати свої сертифікати, але я раджу скористатися папкою, яка там буде під назвою «Для швидкого пошуку». І коли ви знайдете цю папочку, там є документ з назвою «Перелік учасників». І тоді ви собі з переліку учасників дивитеся, знаходите своє прізвище, ім'я, і відразу навпроти вашого прізвища імені буде посилання на сертифікати. Так, пані Раїса написала... Ага, це не пані Раїса, це пані Тетяна. Дивіться, пані Тетяно, ситуація в тому, що ми нагадування не надсилаємо. Це робить автоматично Zoom. Тобто питання в тому, що вам потрібно або змінити пошту, на яку ви реєструєтеся через Zoom сам, або тоді просто завести новий аккаунт у Zoom простіше. Тому що питання в тому, що ми не можемо змінювати ваші пошти для реєстрації. Тобто, ще раз, вам Zoom автоматично надсилає нагадування за день і за годину до заходу на ту пошту, яку ви використали під час реєстрації. Ми, на жаль, цього змінити не можемо. Якщо у вас немає доступу до вашої пошти, на якій у вас зареєстрований Zoom, тоді, як на мою думку, найпростіший варіант – це змінити собі аккаунт, створити новий. От. Тому, будь ласка, перевіряйте раджу ще перевіряти папки спаму. І взагалі всі папки, якщо це, до речі, Укрнет-пошта, досить часто таке буває, так само, як і з Google, до речі, поштою, що вони їх відмічають як спам або ще щось. Тому, будь ласка, Перевіряйте. Я, на жаль, на даний момент я не можу нічого із цим зробити. Як би я не хотіла, тому, ще раз кажу, посилання на приєднання до вебінару вам надсилає Zoom, а робить він це автоматично за режимом, який встановлений за день до вебінару і за годину до вебінару. Тому, будь ласка, найбільша моя порада. Або тоді заведіть собі новий аккаунт на Zoom, на ту пошту, яку ви використовуєте, щоб у вас був спокійно до нього доступ, або, не знаю, спробуйте відновити доступ до Zoom через ту пошту, яка у вас є зараз. Окей. Окей. Now, let's switch gears a little bit, yeah? So, the topic of formative assessment is always important, and it always gathers a lot of people to talk about it, yeah? Because it's something that we strive to implement into our classroom life, but it's not always easy to do. Yeah, it definitely takes a while to make it all work in the classroom, right? To make sure that it blends successfully. But it definitely helps us see the formative assessment. Yeah, it helps us see just truly how students have grasped the material. Yeah, that they are not just going through the motions of doing things that the teacher tells them to do, but they actually understand, yeah, what they are doing and what they are doing it with. So in a way, today my role is to show you that the tasks that are presented in the Imagine Reading Anthology 2 are a combination of great tools for formative assessment, for the usage of it in your classroom, and basically bust the myth that surround formative assessment and make you see that it is easy and it is achievable and how you can do it with what you already have in your classroom. And I will show it to you on our amazing stories that live in the Imagine Reading Anthology 2, which are called Little Red Hen and Kind Gardeners. Yeah. So when we mention formative assessment, yeah, so it is sometimes called the key to effective teaching and learning. Yeah, but let's try to distinguish. Yeah, what is it? What is formative assessment in our eyes? Yeah, very simply put, it is assessment for learning. Yeah, so we know that it is not like summative assessment, yeah, that provides us with a final goal, yeah, that shows us how students how students learn something from the unit or from the textbook, yeah. But formative assessment shows us how our students learn during the process, yeah? So it's assessment for learning, not assessment of learning, yeah? It's, of course, a process that helps us to gather evidence of students, of them learning during the learning process, yeah? Not after the learning process has finished and we give students a test to see what they know. And its main purpose is to diagnose, yeah, what students know, what they don't know, and of course, in turn, to adjust our teaching to make sure that our students get all of the information, all of the necessary tools, yeah, to learn something, and of course, to provide feedback to students, and of course, to the parents and just to yourself, yeah, to see how effective your teaching is. So think of formative assessment as a doctor, yeah, performing checkups to monitor the patient's health, yeah, and when he does that monitoring, yeah, he adjusts treatments yeah, and asks, how are you? Has something changed? And so on and so on, yeah. So the main purpose of the doctor, yeah, is not only to reach that final diagnosis, yeah, to understand what's wrong with the patient, but also, yeah, to provide the best care for that patient and make sure that all of the things that happen with the patient, yeah, that they work. So, yeah, the main purpose is to basically gather the evidence, yeah, that informs our teaching about something and help students to understand where they are, what they are doing, and how to get to that goal that we have set for them. Yeah, the benefits for the students and for the teachers are huge. Yeah, so for students, it's clear understanding of what they are doing, yeah, of their learning goals. It's the ability for the students to see the progress that they are making, yeah, and in a way, it's reducing anxiety and increasing motivation in students, yeah, because they know everything about the process and they don't stress about not knowing what to do, how to do things, yeah, and what they are working towards. And for the teachers, the best things about formative assessment is that it provides timely identification of what students are struggling with, yeah. Also, adapting teaching methods that we have on the fly, yeah, depending on the situation. And it's providing a more effective and targeted feedback to students to make sure that they know how to adjust, what to adjust, and where to move, yeah? So, Imagine is an amazing course. I won't hide this. I like it very, very much. But why Imagine Reading Anthology is an ideal choice for it, yeah? So it would be our main source of inspiration, but of course, remember that you can use these same methods to any tasks and reading materials that you already have in your classroom. I'm not saying that it's life-threatening, yeah, that if you won't buy Reading Anthology from Imagine course, things won't work. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just showing you how you can use this particular resource during your lessons. But it's not just a collection of stories, as some may think. It's an impressive toolkit that basically helps to implement formative assessment into your classroom life without any problems. Yeah, it has a variety of different texts, so it's folk tales, yeah, it's realistic stories about live people that do things, yeah, and it provides diverse contexts for assessment, yeah, in our students. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello. And also, yeah, when we mention the materials that the reading anthology contains, it's the tasks with pre-reading in mind, yeah? So the activities that activate prior knowledge in our students, yeah, and helps to introduce the vocabulary, yeah, that they will be working with. Basically, it's a nice tool for initial diagnoses in our students, yeah. We are already starting to see what they remember, what they don't, what we need to emphasize for them while we are revising, yeah, preparing for the reading part, and it's definitely a lot of things that your students already do in the classroom, but they are not very focused on them. When we mention the stories, yeah, you can definitely see that the stories look very colorful, very inviting, and while we are also reading the text, yeah, not we, but the students, yeah, while they are reading the text, we have the opportunity as teachers to observe what they do, how they do it, yeah, and of course have some interactions with students that maybe have some struggles while interacting with the text. Yeah, and also we have our post-reading activities that provide, again, a wide range of tasks to check the understanding at the different levels, and of course to continue developing the skills that students need to use the language each and every day. So, for the rest of the webinar, I will be getting very practical, and we will use the last two stories that our reading anthology has. So it's the Little Red Hen and its kind gardeners. Yeah, we will basically walk through how some specific tasks and stages connected to the stories that you will see can become nice opportunities for formative assessment to come to life in the classroom. So, usually every story should start with the pre-reading stage, yeah? Why? Because that way, when we use the pre-reading tasks, we activate our students' previous knowledge, yeah? So, for example, here we have activity A that focuses mainly on the phonics, yeah, part of reading. So what formative assessment helps us check here? Yeah, so I will be on the slides, you will be seeing the abbreviation of FA, yeah, formative assessment. So that you just know, yeah. So formative assessment checks when it comes to pre-reading tasks, such as task A, for example, here, yeah? So we are checking the phonemic awareness of our students, yeah? So here it is focused on the E sound, yeah? So busy, ready, sorry, yeah? So the E sound that we get from the letter Y, basically. Yeah, and it's also not just a phonics drill. Yeah, it helps us see how students, yeah, how they interact with what they listen to and what is written. Yeah, and also we have an additional task. Yeah, the students need to find the words busy and sorry, yeah, from the task in the story. They also need to circle them and to count, yeah, so how many times they will see this word that has the sound, yeah, that comes from letter Y, the sound E. The activity B that we have, yeah, so students need to complete the sentences and then they need to listen and check their work that was done. So again, it's the continuation of the task A, where they encountered the letter Y that provides the E sound, yeah, but they also need to make sure that they understand what the word means in a context of the sentence, yeah, and also know the grammar that comes with it, yeah, so how everything is written, how it all works together. And of course, let's not forget about our activity C, which involves revision of not just words, but also names of animals if needed, yeah, because we will see all of those animals in the story, so we can revise the names of animals. But it's a very fun task where students need to put together a sentence or a question, and they need to determine which word goes after which, yeah, to form a question, can you help me? And it directly goes to the story, yeah, and of course the ability to predict if this question will be used in the story. Why is it here? Yeah, so why the question, can you help me, is in the story about Little Red Hen, yeah, what's the connection here? And of course, yeah, they have an additional task task with the star. So they look at the pictures in the story and they need to find who says, "Can you help me?" Yeah, so they flip through the pages, they get to meet the story for the first time, just looking through it, and they need to find who says, "Can you help me?" Yeah, and how often do they do it? Okay, so it's again, yeah, understanding the key vocabulary, the phrases that will be used, and of course the practice for prediction skills. Sometimes it's a lot of fun to see the ideas that students come up with, yeah, who will say this phrase, why they will say this phrase, and so on and so on. So, yeah, so how this helps us as teachers. It helps us to see the student readiness before interacting with the story, yeah? So also identify some potential lexical or maybe phonetic challenges, yeah? So if students have problems with pronunciation of the words, we work it out together, yeah? If they have problems with understanding the meaning, yeah, we encourage the help from other students in the classroom. So who knows what can means, and so on and so on, yeah? And just in general, it's activating prior knowledge in our students, yeah? Getting them ready to do what they need to do, yeah, when they read the story. Then comes the reading and the post-reading, yeah? But before we start, yeah, so let's check what we can do, yeah? So during reading, yeah, we as teachers are definitely involving observation, yeah? So we look at the students' reaction to what they hear as others are reading, or their reactions when they are the ones, yeah, reading the story and what is happening, their engagement in the whole process, yeah, and the participation. Do they just sit and look around themselves and not pay attention to the text, or if they are actually doing something that is related to the reading process? Also, yeah, we can give students quick comprehension questions about different key episodes in the story. So for example, here we are using the story Little Red Hen, yeah, and we can ask, yeah, so after a scene with the characters has ended, yeah, a particular scene, and we can ask, so who did Hen ask next? Yeah, so what did they say, and so on and so on. Yeah, we keep students sort of involved in the process, yeah, so they can easily retain that information. And also, yeah, before we reach the ending, we can, for example, make predictions, yeah? So what do you think will happen when the bread is ready, yeah? So a lot of these things can happen during the reading process, because let's be honest, there would be situations where students will need some time to think about the pronunciation of the word, to read it fully, yeah, from one try, and so on and so on. And definitely it helps to do things differently each and every time, yeah? So for example, we have our story, yeah, our first page, but also something very interesting on that first page, we have a phonics task, sort of, yeah, here. So we have the word bread, bread. So EA come together to create one sound, yeah, so bread, a lot of practice here. And we have our story happening. We see our little red hen that is busy doing something, yeah, and story says little red hen is busy, yeah. So they learned this vocabulary from the textbook. They already know what is going on, yeah, what busy means. Or if they have forgotten, they recalled it thanks to the pre-reading tasks, yeah. And we see what the hen is doing, yeah. She is gathering the materials, sort of, yeah, to make bread. She is gathering either wheat or maybe, I don't know what is, what culture is it, to be honest with you, but I think it's sweet. And yeah, she is looking for help. And she is saying, yeah, can you help me, dog? The dog looks at her and says, no, sorry, I'm busy. Yeah. And the hen then continues to do things by herself. Yeah. Her children are helping her in a way. So, which questions do you think we can ask to check if the students have understood what has happened in this part of the story? So what would you ask your students to see if they understand what is going on? Any ideas in the chat box? You can even type it in Ukrainian. I have no problem with that. I can translate when I see it, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. But for example, yeah, we can just very easily ask, yeah, who did the hen ask for help? Yeah. And the children will say, the dog. Yeah. We can also ask, did he help her? Yeah. And the children will say, yes or no, right? So we can ask different types of questions to see if the students understood what was said in the story, right? Okay. Then we are moving on to our next part. Yeah. So we see that the hen is working. Yeah, she continues to work and she sees a cat and she asks, can you help me, cat? And the cat says, no, sorry, I'm busy. While the cat is definitely not busy, he is sleeping. Yeah. And the hen says, okay, I can do it. Yeah, so the hen is trying to turn the grains into the flour, right? Then we see another part of the story. Yeah, the hen asks one more time, can you help me, duck? The duck says, no, sorry, I'm busy. And now we can see that the hen was trying to get help in making the dough for the bread. Yeah. So again, what questions can we ask to check the understanding in our students? Yeah, what are your ideas? What can we ask them? I will wait a minute. I'm not rushing. I will wait because I want to see your options, what you would like to ask your students. So which questions do you think will be needed? Yeah, which animals did the hen ask for help? Okay. Did the cat help her? Okay, good. We can also ask, yeah, how many animals did she ask, right? So they need to go back. Yeah, who agreed to help? Yeah, who did the hen ask for help in general? Yeah, so again, it's, okay, some problems with the sound. Can everybody hear me? Is it okay? Yeah, we can. Yeah, who was the helper? Yeah, good. While I'm moving, you can give. Yeah, you can provide your questions in the chat box more and more. Okay. So here, and I think this story will look very familiar to you. Yeah, if you can think of the name of the story in Ukrainian, share it in the chat box, okay? Because for me, instantly when I saw this story in the reading anthology, I was like, oh, I know this story. So yeah, we can see that the hen has finished making the bread. Yeah, and she says, my bread is ready. Yeah, and she says, I've got fresh bread. Who can help me eat it? And everybody else comes in and says, yeah, the dog, the cat, the duck, and they are like, oh, I can. yeah, but the hen, sorry, says, sorry, no help, no bread. Yeah, so after we have reached the end of the story, yeah, we of course ask students, so what do you think about the story? Yeah, just generally, did you like it or did you not like it, right? But when students give you their answers, we can also ask the question, so what was the moral of the story? Yeah, what is the main thing that the story has taught us? And what do you think your students will be giving you as an answer? Yeah, so in your opinion, what was the moral of the story? What your students will determine the moral of the story? Because it's always something that we need to remember, yeah? We read something to learn something, yeah? Again, my favorite thing to say, it's not reading just for the sake of reading, yeah? It's reading with a purpose to learn something, to gain new knowledge about different things. Okay, so type in the chat box, what do you think is the moral of the story? Because I like what the hen says. Yeah, she says, yeah, you should help your friends. Yeah, so the hen says, sorry, no help, no bread. Yeah, you didn't do the work, so why should you get something? Yeah, if you didn't do, yeah, if you didn't participate, yeah, if you didn't help. Yeah, we have to help our friends, yeah? And then we can, again, add the question, yeah? So do you think, yeah, don't be lazy, help each other, nice one. And if we ask the students, yeah? So if we could change the story, yeah? Who do you think would help the hen? Would it be the cat, the dog, or the duck? Yeah, and they will give you their thoughts and ideas, yeah, on who would be the most willing to help, right? And also, after the story has ended, we shouldn't just leave it unattended, yeah? We need to use the post-reading tasks that will help us sort of cement, yeah, what our students has learned from the story. So for example, here we have task D, yeah, that has basically пані Олена під час початку вебінару було сказано, що посилання на отримання сертифікату ви отримаєте у розсилці, яка буде здійснена 29 травня. Окей. So going back to the activities, yeah? So we have our task D that says, yeah, complete the sentences. And the sentences basically cover the story in very simple sentences, yeah? So a hen wants to make bread. The cat, the dog, and the dog can't help. They are busy, yeah? Obviously, in their eyes, they are busy. And so on and so on, yeah? So all of the tasks that go after the story, they definitely help students to reflect on what they have read, yeah? And for us to see if students have understood the order of events that has happened in the story, yeah? Also, some morals that we have learned and so on, yeah? So activity D checks the grasp of our students on the main plot. Yeah, what happened, with whom it happened, and how it happened. Yeah, so it's the understanding of key plot events and the vocabulary that was used in the story. Task E, yeah, so unjumble the words, write and read. So it helps us see how students remember the spelling of the words, yeah, that they have seen in the story, that they have learned previously, and use it as a way to actively recall the vocabulary, yeah, that they have interacted with. And also we have the story under letter F, yeah, that helps us see if students remember how to use the grammar form of the verb can or its negative form can't, yeah, and when each one should be applied, yeah. So we are checking if students can coherently, yeah, retell the story using the prompts such as pictures and of course the sentences that we have, and of course understand the logic of the story, yeah. But the upgraded task, yeah, here can be the part where we have to retell the story by using the words from the box, yeah. So we have our main characters, we have dog, duck, hen, help, busy, can, eat, and know. And students need to look at these words, use them to retell what has happened in the story, yeah. Of course, this type of exercise, yeah, retelling the story, needs a little prep time, yeah. So give your students a few minutes to think what they will be saying, yeah. Or again, you can put them into smaller groups of 3-4 students, and have them create in groups, create the short version of the story, yeah. Okay, now we are moving to the kind gardeners, yeah. Some very nice pictures and stories that has our Imagine Reading Anthology, and I felt when I was preparing this presentation, in a way I felt like I was back in primary school, and I was very much involved in doing all of the tasks while I was making the presentation come to life. And sorry, my cat is getting her cat nap in for the day, so I got a little distracted. And yeah, so for example here, yeah, we again have the pre-reading stage with countless possibilities for formative assessment. So activity A once again introduces us with the phonics, yeah, that students have learned previously from the textbook. And it allows us to basically recall, yeah, the new gardening vocabulary, not new, yeah, so to say, but of course, in a new setting, it would look new. And our students have an additional activity, yeah, that they need to find the pictures of beans and weeds in the story. So again, it's students retaining the information that they have gotten from task A, yeah, and they need to make sure that they are on the lookout, yeah, for all of that that it needs to be done. And here, for example, task B, so again, they need to complete the sentences, yeah, and listen and then check. So it's basically allowing students, yeah, to see the vocabulary that they have encountered in task A in context and use it for simple commands, yeah. And of course, let's not forget that we have task C here, yeah, so students need to complete the garden rules, yeah, so they need to say what you do in the garden and what you don't do. Sorry. It's been raining for almost 4 days now where I live in the Rivne region, and I'm just trying to stay awake as much as I can. But yeah, that's beside the point. So students need to work with a task, yeah, find the words that will help them complete the rules. And it helps us to activate the vocabulary according to the topic, yeah, and see if students understand the rules or the instructions that they will come up with after they find all of the words and complete the sentences, yeah. And an additional task, additional challenge here, yeah, is to cover the page and tell your classmates what are the garden rules. Yeah, so what you do in the garden and what you don't do in the garden. Okay. Again, how this helps the teacher. Yeah, so assessing the existing knowledge of garden-related vocabulary. Again, it corresponds to the topic of the story that we will be working with, yeah? And prepare the students for the story context, yeah? Because we are talking about the garden, yeah? What you do in the garden, what you don't do. So obviously the story will be revolving around that, yeah? So we keep that in mind. When we are reading, yeah, of course, we can pause to discuss the characters' feelings, yeah? So for example, here we see that two boys, two brothers, they have a very beautiful garden, yeah? So they have different vegetables, and they also grow flowers. But yeah, they go to their neighbors, to Mr. and Mrs. Solak, who live next door, and they are friends with those people, yeah, and they see that something is not right, yeah, because they don't have their friends, yeah, they don't have flowers or vegetables. All they have is the weed growing, yeah, in their garden. So we can definitely ask a question, yeah, so how the characters are feeling, yeah, so how the boys, how Yusuf and Berat are feeling when they see the state of the garden, yeah, from their friends, from their neighbors, yeah, or how do you think the neighbors feel, yeah, because their garden is in such a state. Yeah, it's again one of the ways to keep students involved in the story and see if they understand, yeah, what is going on. Now we have moved to see the friends, yeah. So the boys come to the house of Mr. and Mrs. Solak, and they are checking, yeah, if everybody is doing okay, yeah. And Mr. Solak says, yeah, I feel tired today, so I can't work in the garden. Yeah, so now they know what happened, and we can ask, yeah, so how do you think the boys feel after learning what is happening with Mr. Solak, yeah? And so they say that they have the garden tools with them and they can help, yeah, tend to the garden and make sure that the garden is doing okay. We can again ask students, yeah, would they do the same? Yeah, would they be willing to help with things like that to their friends or family if they see that the family needs help? Yeah, and here we can see that the boys help Mr. and Mrs. Solak tend to their garden. Yeah, they dig up the weeds, they water the flowers, they plant some plants, yeah, some vegetables, and of course we have our help with the phonics, yeah, with pronunciation, with a difficult word, yeah, with special, how it is pronounced, how it's used, and so on and so on. And then we reach the end of the story, yeah, so the boys have helped Mr. and Mrs. Solak with the garden, yeah, the tomatoes are given, yeah, and Mr. and Mrs. Solak are very happy, yeah. And you can ask students here, so how you would react, yeah, if somebody did something like that for you, yeah, if somebody helped you when you needed it the most. Or how do you think Mr. and Mrs. Solek feel, yeah, when they see what the boys did with their garden, and so on and so on, yeah? And now we reach the final, yeah, the finale of the story, and we can see, yeah, that Mr. and Mrs. Solek decided to, in a way, reward the boys, yeah, by having dinner with them together. And Mrs. Solek has prepared a tomato soup, yeah, with the tomatoes that the boys have given, and so on and so on. So definitely we can ask some very story-specific questions, or we can ask just questions that will relate to the story in general to see if students understand the plot, yeah, and if they understand what is going on. And of course, when we have the post-reading tasks, we definitely have more opportunities for formative assessment here, yeah? So here in the task D, we can see if students understand the plot in details, yeah? And also if we can get some additional information, yeah, for the future. The riddles in the task E, yeah, again help to have this fun way of seeing how students work with the vocabulary, yeah, and also it shows how their logical thinking is working, yeah, if they remember how each letter goes after each letter and how it all creates a word, yeah. And of course, the activity F that we have is a fantastic way to ask students, yeah, why the boys are the kind gardeners, yeah, and how they have given something to others, yeah, but also provide a grammar practice, yeah, to see if the students can use the specific grammar phrase. So in this instance, it's we've got or we haven't got, yeah, and of course, form their own opinions, yeah, about things that they see, and of course, how they prove, yeah, that their thoughts, their arguments, that they are the correct ones. But more often than not, working with a given source is very nice, but let me share with you some formative assessment strategies that I have taken away from Imagine Reading Anthology 2, and the ones that will be effective when we work with any type of text or with different types of tasks in the classroom. So the first strategy, yeah, is of course effective questioning, or in other words, targeted questioning. Why do I say in other words? Because we can definitely ask different types of questions to check if our students have understood. So it's either open question or closed question, yeah, that can give us just yes or no questions. It's questions that make students recall what they have worked with, yeah, and it's of course higher order thinking questions, yeah. So it's the questions that make students think and combine what they have gathered previously. So for example, from the Little Red Hen, yeah, why do you think the animals initially refused to help? Yeah, so what was the reason why animals said no to the Little Red Hen? Either they said it because they really were busy, or they were tired, or they didn't know what the hen was doing, yeah, and what would be the result, that the result of the hen's work would be fresh, yummy bread that they also would like to eat, right? One more example from kind gardeners, yeah? So how did helping their neighbors change Mr. and Mrs. Solek's mood? Yeah, so how the help from the boys helped Mr. and Mrs. Solek feel? Yeah, so again, while it would be assumptions more often than not, yeah, but it's a fun way to evoke students' discussions, yeah, make them talk without them actually thinking that it relates to doing any type of task, yeah. We are weird like that. We teachers like to be sneaky, right? Also, the second strategy is quick checks for understanding. Yeah, so usually my favorite one is the exit tickets. Yeah, so it's 1, 2, maybe 3 questions depending on the situation at the end of the working process with the text. Here we can use for the exit tickets, yeah, we can ask them to students to write down one thing that they have learned from the story. For example, yeah, like write one character trait of the Little Red Hen, how you can describe her. Or you can say, yeah, what trait is your favorite from the hen. Or you can turn this into thumbs up, thumbs down, or sideways, yeah? And you can ask students, so I will name some of the traits, and you tell me, yeah, you show me with thumbs up, thumbs to the side, yeah, and thumbs down, if this trait applies to a character, to the Little Red Hen, to the dog, to the cat, to the duck, yeah? Or you can turn this around with the kind godliness and ask students things that will relate to the story. Okay, the third strategy is observation and analysis of student work. So, of course, while our students work, yeah, we watch them work. For example, if they, when they are working on the task D, yeah, from the kind godliness post-reading tasks, and we look at their written responses, yeah, and we ask them, so what have you written there, yeah, what made you think about this particular option, yeah, and they will say, oh, the first letter that is given, yeah, but have you written the correct word here, yeah. Also, for example, we can use task F, yeah, so we will see, yeah, if our students can understand what we've got means, what we haven't got means, how it all corresponds to the picture, how they can use it all in practice, yeah. And of course, many different things can come into play, because sometimes there would be situations where students will be like, oh, I'm not sure, or I forgot, or something like that. Yeah, and we definitely provide help for those students who need it. Yeah. The fourth strategy is, of course, self-assessment and peer assessment. So it's a very simple checklist, yeah, for self-checking, like students can ask themselves, yeah, can I retell the story? Do I remember the characters from the story? Yeah, so what was the problem in the story? And so on and so on, yeah? So, for example, we can use 2 stars and a wish for peer feedback, yeah, on retelling the story. And of course, yeah, students say 2 things that they did well with while working with the story, and 1 thing that they can try to do better next time, or something that they had problems with, yeah. And from kind godliness, for example, remember we had that activity E, where the words were put in a riddle, yeah, and students had to place the letters in the correct order to make the correct word, yeah. So students discuss if they solve the riddles correctly, yeah. So they check which order of the letters is working correctly. And last but not least, it's arguably the most crucial part of formative assessment, it's effective feedback. It needs to be specific, it needs to be constructive, and of course, it needs to be timely. So we are focused on what to do next, yeah? And it's not just for errors, yeah? Because basically feedback should be more like a GPS system, so to say, than a grade, yeah? It should tell students where they are going, yeah, what's their road leading to, and how to get there, yeah, what means to use to get there easier, smoother, and so on and so on. So we need to be specific, yeah, we need to focus on the task, and we always need to suggest students with a way forward, yeah, how we can proceed for the future. For example, from just saying good work or good job, yeah, we can say, I really liked how you retold the story, yeah, and it was very nice, yeah, so keep it up, keep it going. For example, if you have a student that is not very, that has problems with recalling stories that they have read or doing tasks, yeah, that they have done previously, you can say, oh, well, next time let's try it together, yeah, and let's see exactly where you have some problems, yeah, let's try to solve it all together, yeah, let's tackle the problems and make sure that we are working and we are growing, yeah. So don't just say good job, yeah, at the end of the lesson. Provide a few more words of encouragement to your students, because giving them feedback on what they are doing definitely empowers students, and it makes them feel good about themselves, about what they have accomplished during the lesson. So what this means to you and to your students, yeah, the usage of formative assessment. Embracing the formative assessment with different resources, not just reading anthology, but many others, has profound benefits for teachers and for students. For teachers, it means that we are basically no longer teaching in the dark. Yeah, we are more, we have more in-depth understanding of what each of our students needs, yeah, and it allows us to basically tailor instructions to each of our students, yeah, and in turn, again, it helps to increase teaching effectiveness, yeah, and of course, reduce the stress of teaching in the dark, yeah, of not knowing what to expect and where to go from there. And when we think about students, yeah, for them, it's the best benefit of feeling supported and involved in the process, of students understanding the mistakes, yeah, and of course, knowing what they need to do, where they are going, yeah. It's students growing confidence in their abilities, yeah. Again, I know what I'm doing it very good, and they get that feeling of satisfaction, yeah, and of course, developing self-regulation and reflection skills. So, I usually ask this at the end when our читанка sessions have come to the end, because usually I have this format of following along with the story, doing the tasks with the teachers who attended, and so on and so on, yeah. But to be honest with you, I decided to kind of modify it and make you see from the perspective of the teacher, yeah, how it all works. So use it to your advantage, yeah. I hope you enjoyed it and you will use it for your classroom, together with reading anthology, of course. But right now is something that probably a lot of you who attended today were waiting. Now it has come time to determine the winners of our quick Вишиванка Day, because I promised that on the Читанка event, I will select 3 winners with random.org. So, let me let me do what I need to do. So tell me, please, can you see my browser right now with random.org opened? Yes, good. So let me show you. Yeah, you're very welcome, everyone. Okay, Gemini is trying to talk with me, not about me, talk with me. So we had, if I remember correctly, we had lots of, yeah, we had 75 participants, 76 because the first line of the table is, of course, the main, the parts that were filled in the form. So we have 75, so our max is 75, and we need to get 3 numbers, so let's let's press generate, so we have number 64. Number 64 is, okay, it's the primary school from Poltava region. Неклюдова Олена. Pani Olena, do we have you here? If we do, it would be very nice. If we don't, it's still nice. Okay, so we have our first winner. Now let's click generate one more. Because we need to determine 2 more winners. Number 48. Number 48 is, oh, Городок English, Ринда Ілона Володимирівна. Okay, good. And Pani Ilona is here. Awesome. You're welcome, Pani Ilona. And let's press generate one more time to determine 1 more winner. 53. Okay. 53. Кам'янець-Подільський ліцей номер 3. Ткачук Людмила. Okay, so we have determined our 3 winners. And trust me, I have checked all of the links to the Facebook posts that you made. And when I see that you and your students enjoy those materials so much, it brings me great joy, because I have created them myself, and I enjoy seeing that people use them and that they have fun and that they honor the things that happen with our culture, with our lives, and that they use it to promote Ukraine, to promote Ukraine's culture in front of the students of different ages. Thank you all very much. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. And of course, as usual, stay safe. Keep yourself, keep your students, and keep your colleagues, your family safe. Have a nice end of your school year, because I know it's happening very, very soon for a lot of you. And I will see you if you will be attending the Вчителі майбутнього event in Lviv this За участь в конкурсі сертифікати також будуть. Все зв'яжуся з переможцями, зателефоную, зв'яжуся з вами, все розкажу, покажу. And if you will be attending Вчителі майбутнього 2025 in Lviv on June 19th and 20th, I will be there. I would be one of the speakers. So come say hi. And I will be very happy to talk to you in real life. Okay, everyone, stay safe. Yeah, and I will see you very, very soon. Yeah, goodbye.